we would drive more slowly. It doesn't always apply to parents. But it's also not amusing either, because it's dangerous, particularly when you talk about yielding in traffic circles. People are in a big hurry. The farthest you are from the gate can't be more than 5 minutes. So how much time are you going to save by making the wrong turn in the traffic circle just to save those extra 5 or 10 seconds? We just keep appealing to people. There are other things we can do. We could hire policemen to come in here, and they'd be with the radar guns. If it got to the point where, you know what triggers something like that? An incident. Suddenly everybody says, I don't care what it costs, we're gonna have to do a special assessment, we're gonna do something, we've got to fix this because somebody got injured or killed because of a reckless or careless driver. We just keep appealing to everyone. Everyone in this room, I would hope, is a defensive driver and drives under the speed limit. But there are a number of people that don't. It's always Crestwood Parkway that gets the finger pointed at them. If you see it, now here's the other side of it. If there's an unsafe act, you can step in and try to correct it. If you just see something you don't like and you think it breaks the rules, you don't have the authority to go in and say, hey, you better fix this, or there's heck to pay here if you don't do that. I don't have the authority to do that either. You know, I can politely advise somebody if I see something and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. You know, you're double parked on the main street and you're blocking traffic. Then you might say something. But for the most part, it's just we keep appealing to people to do this, and I don't know that it's gotten any better according to Stan. It hasn't.
Hey Ron, this is Doug Giganto. One of your slides had a thing about the sales center, sale or purchase. What is the board's current feeling or position on the sales center once Coulter vacates or turns it all over to us?
Right now, he's in a position where he's either going to renovate it and bring it up to the standard. It's the Walnut model to bring it up to those standards and then to sell it. He may want to sell it to us, but he will come to us with an offer to be buy it for this amount. Not that simple, because we probably have to borrow to do it. Right now, we can't borrow because we wouldn't qualify because of the loan. So one is connected to the other. So yes, there is discussion about possibly buying that, but that's far from a decision being made. And the board doesn't really have a position on it right now until we know what is it that you want for this. Is this even affordable, and could we even borrow to do it? That triggers a whole nother sequence of administrative or bureaucratic activity before we can just go out and say, yes, we're going to spend $500,000–600,000 and we're going to set up a mortgage for this building. It also would involve rezoning, I believe, since it's zoned for commercial or zoned for residential, and that would change zoning. That could be done, but it's not that simple.
Jim wanted to say something. It's out here. Go stand in Ron's. Ron's.
Just from Ron's ear.
Now, getting back to the traffic situation, we have formed a Gates and Security Committee, and the board had visited a over 55 community, Del Webb community in Nashville, Tennessee, where they manned the gates with the residents. And we paid them a certain wage during daylight hours. And the purpose of that is that when you man the gates, they will take down license numbers, and record who's entering our community and when they're leaving. So that, if any of our guests, our vendors, or whatever go through the community, we know who they are. If something happens, we can do something about it. We're also looking at a community, I think it's Soleil in Canton, that has a electronic monitoring system for traffic. We don't know how much that costs, but we're looking into it. So we're actually looking at several options for the future. And hopefully we'll come up with something that is a reasonable cost that will allow us to control the traffic situation. Who is it that's running the gates and security?
Mark Bella.
Yes.
Mark Bella.
Okay. Mark Bella? Yes.
BELLA, yeah, he's heading up that group.
That we found it very interesting when we went to the Dell Web community, you know, how well it was working, and there were many residents. We have, 1,000 homes possibly, and I'm sure we have a lot of people that wouldn't mind taking 3-4 hour shifts during the day to monitor the gates.
This was a community of about 1,021 homes, I think. So we're looking at that. There are various options. We want to do it where we can hopefully keep the cost to a minimum. Yes, question.
Yeah, I'm Tom Patay, and I also live on the Parkway. And the question I have is, insurance that we pay here is probably based on the speed limit which we have on our streets. That speed limit is broken all the time. You can't back out of, I cannot back out of my driveway without having to stop 2 or 3 times for cars that weren't even there when I started. And I don't know if you have an appreciation for it, but if something happens, the insurance is going to go up. You know that they're not driving at 25 miles an hour. You know that as a board. You know it. Everybody knows it. And you're saying there's nothing you can do about it. But when somebody gets hurt, you're going to have to do something about it.
George Sampson, Willow Creek Drive. I may have missed this because I was not at the last board meeting, but why is Coulter moving up the schedule, and is that beneficial to us considering there's still a lot of construction going on?
Can't answer for Bob Rademacher was thinking he wants to accelerate this. I can speculate, and allow me to do that. This is only speculation. He has other projects going on right now. At Peachtree City, for example, and I think there's one where they're doing the construction work in Brazelton. And they're not the manager, or they're not the developer, but they're the builder. So I would suspect that he wants just to move along. He's getting near the end. He just said, let's go, let's move. And he could, as I said, he could walk in on a moment's notice and say, here's a box of papers, this is everything you need, I'm out of here. Technically. He would, but I doubt seriously if he would ever do this. No indication that he would just leave us to say, here, it's yours, and run off. He wouldn't do that because this is his flagship community. And I think he wants to continue to keep it in that status, and doing anything other than just making this a smooth transition would not be in his interest. But why he's doing it? He just wants to accelerate it, and that's his prerogative.
Hi, Dennis Carewell, Bloomfield Way. We have a concern about the property behind our lot. Recently, we were told today that it was taken over by the HOA. We have been working with Coulter to try and clean it up. There's root walls that stick up 8 to 10 feet high. There's tree stumps. It's just a mess back there from construction. Again, we had been working with Susan. Got a call from her today saying the HOA took it over. What, if anything, can the HOA do to help clean up that property?
Is this a lot that is to be built on?
This is a...
or is it just a common area?
It's a common area. There's actually a gas pipeline that goes through there that HOA is now responsible for keeping that area clear.
3C, the gas line runs.
Oh yeah, at the very bottom of
Yes.
the end of Crestwood Parkway.
Yes, yes.
Bloomfield.
Bloomfield Way.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Same area.
It's something we know about. It's something we're going to have to look at. The gas line, the gas company restricts a lot of what goes on in that gas line. It's ours, but they have an easement that controls what goes on in there. So I'll come over and look at it with you.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Question?
Amy Pilgrim, Carson, when he asked the question about the sales center versus the design center, the sales center, were you talking about the sales center or the design center about
The sales center, the one just off, directly across the parking lot.
Okay, the one where you meet and it has the big thing in the center.
Right, where they have the
Because I thought the Walnut was the one where the next door was the house next door and you go in the basement.
No, the sales center is where they have the.
So you are talking about the sales center?
Right.
Okay.
Where they have all the roads met, and this little that miniature construction that shows you where everything is, and the roads and the homes and all of that.
Okay. Following up on the question about the landscaping, and maybe you can just direct me into the right area. I'm over on the 3C side, the under the tunnel. And when the landscape committee starts looking at things to do, I would hope that they would start looking at equity on that side of possibly upping it a little bit, because Coulter didn't seem to do as much landscaping on that side. It looks a little bit bare. And so is that what we should do, is possibly approach the landscape committee and say, hey, we've got some ideas and maybe there's some things that we could do with that? You see what I'm asking?
I think Meg Bonus, you certainly can offer that up, yes. You know, I would not direct it to anyone else, because they're looking at this overall concept, what should we be doing? What is being done for the common areas in phases 1 and 2 are obviously different than they are in phase 3. There's, you know, the traffic circles and a variety of things. There's more common area. It's more spacious. You have less of that in 3C. Doesn't mean you can't do things over there, but is Meg here? Meg Bonus? Is that something that...
I will say what you just said, the biggest problem with phase 3 is that they have built a home in every square inch of it. There was even a spot in which they decided not to build a home, and instead of leaving that corner for a common area that could be developed, or that we could or he could have developed, he tagged it on to somebody else's lot, and so this person has this very large lot. So there really are not, there is not the green space. You have the end of the cul-de-sacs, which we don't want to promote too much because we have to keep the cul-de-sacs open for emergency vehicles. It's not like we can, you know, maybe put a bench there, but not anything that someone can stop for.
How about the little doggy station?
Yes.
Is that under your role?
We'll be working with them on locating a spot that we can get some dog stations over there.
Yes.
It's so tight over there that it's going to be in somebody's yard. And I have
You do have the option of, if you do want to do some planting in your own yards, you know, you go through the landscaping request. You can improve that on your own, which many people do. Many people just decide they want to add to the existing landscaping because it just enhances the appearance of their yard. It satisfies them personally, and all that's fine. But Megan's right. The builder in this case, or the Better Maker, has used just about every square inch of 3C that they can get to build homes, and they don't have the common area that you do in other areas. Rod?
My name's Rod Quisenberry, and my name was up there as far as the slip transfers. And somebody asked, are we soliciting input, or all the committees soliciting input? And there's no question we've had meetings with the slip owners and stuff like that, and we're doing the best we can to keep everybody informed on what we're doing. And I think all the other committees will take that same attitude. If you've got questions or concerns, talk to that committee, and they may not be able to do anything about it. They may be, but I know they'll hear you out. Secondly, I've got a couple clarifications I'm wondering about. I live in phase 1, obviously. The streets in phase 1 are deteriorating much faster than what I think anybody anticipated. There's a lot of sliding. I attribute it to it wasn't done the same way it was done in phase 2 and will be done in phase 3. Are we out of luck on that, or can we go back to the builder on that? Last question. We put out a memo, or somebody put out a memo, that retaining walls are now homeowners' responsibilities. And I agree with that if it's a retaining wall between you and your neighbor's house and it's knee-high or something like that. But these major structural walls, I've got a 40-foot, 50-foot tall structural wall that they could not have built my house had they not put in the structural wall. My little retaining wall that delineates my yard, if it fails, I'll pay for it. If it needs repaired, I'll pay for it. If that 50-foot wall fails, I ain't gonna pay for it, because I'll go bankrupt paying for it. So a clarification on, are we out of luck on the roads in phase 1? And exactly how broad was that memo, meaning retaining walls? I assumed it meant the individual short, knee-high retaining walls that are between lots all over the community. I didn't think it meant the 40, 50-foot walls that enabled those houses to be built on.
Unfortunately, some of the walls are built on your property. They're yours. It's just the bottom line. If it's built on common property, it belongs to the HOA for maintenance and repairs. If a wall is on you and your neighbor's property together and it fails for some reason, the two of you split the cost of repair or replacement.
My sales contract never said I was responsible for the wall that supports the land my house is built.
It may not have, but the survey that is attached to that sales contract says you own everything in that postage stamp. Now, if the wall's not on you, then it's the association.
No, it's on, only 20 foot of it is on me. The other 300 and some odd feet are on my neighbors. But I'm asking for my neighbors as well as myself.
Well, and that's the official answer. I'm not saying that that'll be the end answer, but the official answer is, if it's on your property, you own it, and you'll be responsible for it.
That's your question. If you look out your backyards and you got a 60-foot wall, make sure you don't own it.
The answer to your question about the roads, the developer probably does not have a formal responsibility for those roads, but he hasn't ruled out talking about it. So we still have that. I can still approach the developer on the older roads where the alligatoring and the separation has occurred. That is not a completely dead issue, but I'm not going to make any promises if I say, oh yeah, we're going to take care of that. We might be able to do that, but no certainty that we can, particularly in phases 1 and 2, which have long since been turned over. Less likely to ever be in phase 3 because it's newer, but phase 1 and 2, there are some older roads in there. They failed probably sooner than they should have, but that's one of the things that we from the board have to take up. But it's not a dead issue.
On that vein, is there a schedule for finishing the top coat in section 3, phase 3?
Not that I know of it.
Not until he gets down to the last house or so.
It's, all indications are that he will have either no construction or maybe 1 or 2 homes. That's what happened in the 2A and B sections. They waited till that last house was done. Otherwise, they run that construction equipment over there, and they could damage that road. They could damage it in a way you wouldn't even notice. They would just crush that surface, that top surface, and just create a rut-inducing damage. So I doubt if he would do that until he's right near the very end for the last home conveyance.
Dave Johnson. I also live on Crestwind Speedway. I'm really concerned with this rapid turnover that Bob wants to do. It strikes me as Coulter looking to get out of legal responsibilities. The faster they turn over, the lest their neck is stuck out. And I guess that really concerns me, as long as they have as much work